Hey family, I'm Kaelion. I interpret messages from the divine in music. I'm a soldier, a cryptologic linguist, and a messenger. And I walk with those who carry both shadow and flame. There's a song that I can never hear without feeling something deep stir within my soul. When I'm Gone by 3 Doors Down. Especially the military tribute version. It was filmed aboard a U.S. Navy vessel after the attacks of 9/11. Check it out on YouTube if you haven't heard it. That song, that moment in time, and that energy, it carried the heartbeat of an entire generation. Because for those of us who remember, that was a time when our nation felt raw. The pain of that day still echoed in the air, and yet beneath it all, there was something else. Unity. A rare kind of unity born from shared loss and a shared desire to protect what we love. I was 17 then, a kid from Paterson, New Jersey, the same city where some of those responsible for 9/11 had lived and planned the attack. I'd already dropped out of school, not because I lacked intelligence, but because after losing both my parents by the age of 6, I'd lost something far more important, and that was the will to care about anything anymore. Hope wasn't a word I understood. I lived angry, reckless, and I was ready to burn the world before it burned me again. But in 2002, something changed. My son was born, and suddenly, I was holding a new life in my hands, looking into eyes that would someday look back at me, trying to understand who I was. I didn't know how to be a father, but I knew I couldn't keep running from becoming one. Around that time, the whole country was still painted in red, white, and blue. Recruiting commercials ran every day, and one afternoon I found myself standing in front of an Army recruiter's office. I didn't go there because I wanted to go to war. I went because I needed a way out of the war already happening inside of me. I remember behind the recruiter's desk, there was a poster. It was a soldier standing in a clean uniform. His wife was next to him, and in front of them were their children. They were all smiling in front of a quiet home. That image hit me harder than any speech and any promise. I remember I pointed at it and asked, if I say yes, do I get that? The recruiter smiled and he said yes, and so I signed up. But first, I had to earn my way in. Since I had dropped out of high school, I needed a GED and I had to pass the ASVAB, which is the test that decides what jobs you can qualify for in the military. I didn't study for either one of them. Honestly, I didn't even take them fully sober. But somehow, by grace and miracle, I passed both on the first try. And that's when I learned how unexpected divine purpose can be. Because for a street kid with no discipline, I was suddenly elected as one of the most elite roles in the Army, military intelligence, as a cryptologic linguist and an enemy code interceptor. I didn't even know what that meant at the time, but it sounded like something worth becoming. Through that path, I found safety, I found belonging, I found brothers and sisters, and for the first time, I was a part of something greater than myself. I served my entire 8 years without once being deployed overseas. And for a long time, I was actually kind of ashamed of that, of never having gone. Many soldiers know that feeling, that quiet guilt when your brothers and sisters come back from war with scars and stories that you can't share. But over time, I eventually learned that service isn't measured by where you stand, it's measured by whether you stood at all. I raised my hand, I swore the same oath, and though my path kept me stateside, I still served, trained, and stood ready to go if I was ever called. That's what many forget. Service members don't start wars. We answer the call of the leaders chosen by the people. We follow the orders of a government we didn't design to protect a people we often never meet. And we do it because we love something bigger than ourselves: home. I've heard people say the military preys on broken kids from broken places. And maybe there's truth in that. But they forget the other half of that story, because the military also saves those same kids. It gives us direction, brotherhood, sisterhood, and a chance to be more than what the streets promised we could become. It took a lost boy from Paterson, New Jersey, and it gave him structure, family, and the faith he needed to find his purpose. We live in a time where many are comfortable, in some ways a little too comfortable. So comfortable that they've forgotten the price of peace. And they look down on those who still believe in duty, sacrifice, and service. But peace doesn't sustain itself. Every comfort we enjoy today, the safety, the silence, and the freedom, was purchased by those who stood ready to lose it all. When I'm Gone by 3 Doors Down isn't a song about dying. It's a song about love. A love that transcends distance, time, and fear. It's every service member whispering to the ones they love, remember me, not for my absence, but for what I stood for. Remember that I loved you enough to fight for a future I might never see. And so today, on Veterans Day, I want to speak to my brothers and sisters in arms, past and present. Thank you for your courage, your sacrifice, your unseen battles, and the quiet way you still carry them. And to my family here in the Sacred Family of Flame, if you see a veteran today or this week, stop for a moment, look them in the eye, shake their hand, tell them they're remembered. Sometimes that simple gesture can reignite a spark that's been dim for years. And if you're one of those brothers or sisters watching this who feels forgotten, I see you. We see you. The divine sees you. You are not alone, and your fire still burns bright. Happy Veterans Day, family. Stay strong, stay faithful, and never forget the power of the promise you made. And now a prayer for my beloved spiritual and coach sister Malika. Divine Mother of Mercy and Father of Light, embrace the souls of those who served and who still serve. Let every weary heart find rest, and every unseen wound find healing. Bless the guardians of peace, and comfort those who carry memories too heavy to speak aloud. May their courage be met with compassion, their sacrifice with remembrance, and their fire with eternal grace. Ashe, Amin, and Amen. If this message speaks to you, help me spread it by liking, commenting, sharing, or simply whispering it into the wind. Thanks for watching, family. See you next time. Same fire, new rhythm.